There comes a time in the history of college sports, a time when tradition collides with transformation, when someone throws a wrench into a system already struggling to adapt. And that time, my friends, is now. Because President Donald J. Trump, with the stroke of a pen, has entered the arena of college athletics. Not as a player, not as a coach, but as a disruptor. On July 24, the president issued an executive order, an explosive, sweeping, and vaguely constructed declaration aimed at college sports and how athletes are paid. In his words, it's about saving college athletics, about protecting scholarships, about ensuring Olympic hopefuls have a lane forward. But in its current form, this executive order feels less like a lifeline, and more like a stick of dynamite hurled into a delicate, evolving structure already under strain. Let's be clear, the timing of this move is not accidental. The SCORE Act, a more methodical and legally sound piece of legislation dealing with name, image, and likeness rights, is moving steadily through the House of Representatives. It's been studied, amended, discussed across aisles. There's been compromise, progress, and growing consensus. And then, boom, a presidential decree. An executive order with loose enforcement guidelines, legally questionable language, and timing that leaves many wondering, is this about the athletes, or about attention? Because right now, college sports sit at a crossroads. The NIL era is in full swing. Student athletes can finally earn money for their image, their endorsements, their worth. The floodgates opened in 2021, and in came the deals, the chaos, the triumphs, and the uncertainty. For some, it's been a dream. For others, a nightmare. And for the NCAA, an identity crisis that continues to grow deeper by the day. Now add to that crisis the fallout of the House vs. NCAA settlement, a landmark ruling that now permits direct payment to college athletes, potentially pulling up to $20.5 million annually from athletic department budgets. That's not pocket change. That's entire sports programs on the brink. And that's where this executive order claims to step in. To protect Olympic sports, to preserve, non-revenue, athletics that don't get the TV deals, that don't sell out stadiums but still raise banners and send athletes to the world stage. Sports like wrestling, like gymnastics, like swimming, rowing, fencing, and volleyball. These programs are at risk. Not because they don't matter, but because in this new revenue-sharing landscape, money talks, and some sports don't sell. So what is Trump really trying to do? Is he trying to preserve what's left of amateurism? Is he trying to elevate Olympic hopefuls? Or is this a heavy-handed maneuver to gain political capital during an election year? Because make no mistake, this is political. Every part of it. From the language used to the vague promises written into the executive order, it reads like a campaign pitch disguised as policy. It tries to curtail the growing power of NIL. It tries to reassert control over how and when athletes can be paid. And in doing so, it steps on the toes of state laws, NCAA autonomy, and Congress's own legislative process. Instead of working with lawmakers to craft enforceable, bipartisan solutions like the SCORE Act, the president chose to throw down a gauntlet. To override, to disrupt, to command. And yet, in all that effort, the executive order says little about how it would actually work. There are no enforcement mechanisms, no roadmap for compliance, no coordination with the Department of Education, the NCAA, or any governing body that actually oversees college sports. It's bold, it's dramatic, but it's also a legal gamble, one that could collapse under judicial scrutiny. So what could President Trump do instead? If he genuinely wants to protect Olympic sports, if he truly wants to ensure that fencing and track and rowing survive in this new era, then he should focus not on restricting athlete pay, but on creating funding protections for non-revenue sports. He should lead the charge to establish federal grants tied to Olympic development. He should push for incentives that reward universities for maintaining balanced athletic programs. He should propose tax breaks or endowment models that ensure wrestling doesn't disappear from Big Ten campuses. Because if the fear is that NIL will swallow Olympic dreams, the solution isn't to suppress the rights of student athletes. It's to build a bridge between commerce and competition. Athletes in football and basketball deserve their NIL success. But that doesn't mean the tennis team should vanish, or that swimmers should be cut, or that Olympic dreams should be sacrificed in the name of balance sheets. We don't need an executive order that rewinds the clock. We need leadership that evolves with the times. The NCAA is broken, yes. The nil era is messy, yes. But chaos should never be the excuse for control. It should be the call for creativity. Let the SCORE Act do its work. Let Congress pass legislation that ensures fairness, consistency, and sustainability. And if the president wants to help, then let him protect programs, not punish athletes. Because America doesn't lead the world in Olympic medals by accident. It does so because of the college pipeline, a system that, despite its flaws, has given rise to gold medalists, world champions, and household names. That system is fragile now. But it won't be saved by orders written in the heat of politics. It'll be saved by policy written with purpose. So let us not be distracted. Let us not be divided. Let us keep our eyes on the mission. To ensure that college sports survive and thrive, for all athletes, not just the stars. This is not a war on nil. This is a call to preserve opportunity, without denying justice.